be jumping right in very soon, and yeah, I'll be interested to see whether I just want to see how Mongols plays this, because Mongols is really the civ that gets to choose what kind of game we're playing. Is it going to be one that goes up to Castle Age and gets all greedy and stuff like that, or are we going to see some Dark Age shenanigans with the towers everywhere? And it'll kind of be up to French to play more reactionary to that.
Yeah, well, let's have a look at exactly how it's going to be, because, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to game number 1 of a knockout in Golden League. This is the very first round of the knockout. Spawning in on the south of the map, we've got COINNU, who is going to be playing the French for us today. On the north side of the map, playing as the Mongols, it's going to be MeomaikA in the red. So you mentioned earlier that I was going to ask. So you mentioned earlier it's going to be about the Mongols, and it's going to be, you know, how the Mongols wants to play this. It's going to be the shoe on the foot, or not the shoe on the foot necessarily, but it's going to be the ball is in their court at this point in time. They haven't got the best spawn. So does that to you indicate, you know, which way they might go with this?
Yeah, it's a bit tricky. I think maybe. I mean, I really think you could still play it either way. The gold mine is a little bit further away, so you are going to have to invest in that gear. The stone is actually very far away from this town center, so like building the pasture next to the Ovu is going to be a bit worse. I think maybe just because of how far away you're going to have to place the pastures, that you actually go for a tower rush in this kind of situation, and just try to apply a lot of pressure and prevent your opponent from even feeling like they can leave their base at all.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I guess one of the things that comes in for me, or the one of the thoughts that I have, is that we've seen a prominent strategy start to develop with French players on how to defend against the Mongol tower rush, and this was something that was pioneered by the Mister. Now, I understand that the Mister, unfortunately, has actually been DQ'd in the tournament at this stage, or at least in the first round here. He's been DQ'd, so probably you know, maybe he fell asleep or had a bit of farming to do that sort of stuff. But essentially, his philosophy was, well, hold on, I'm gonna just rush feudal. I'm gonna drop down an archery range as soon as I can. I'm gonna get out just 3 or 4 archers. That's all I need. And I'm going to start making scouts with my school of cavalry. And the archers are going to stop any kind of, you know, further aggression or further outpost crawling from happening. And then the scouts are actually going to siege down the outpost. And it seems to be very, very efficient, because then you can easily transition into a professional scouts opening.
Yeah, and it makes tons of sense, too, because every unit in this game has the exact same torch damage, except for the Fire Lancer. And just because the scout is cheaper than all other units, that means they're actually better against buildings. That, and they also have really high hit points for their cost. They have the HP regeneration, so you can pull back the ones that are under attack and heal them a little bit before bringing them back in. So yeah, the Archer Scout opening has definitely seemed really strong against the Tower Rush, and it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, well, who knows whether we'll see it today. Obviously, the aggression that's coming out, as you called, is no real surprise here, just considering the unfortunate nature of the spawn. And I think that's probably something that we have started to see more and more. Now those spears are going to be coming in, doing a bit of damage to this mining camp. Now we see that COINNU has got 81 gold in the bank. He's got that age up on the way as well, so he's not going to be too fussed about losing the gold mine at this point in time. But we'll have to see how he plays it and whether he goes extra heavy on that wood or not.
Yeah, it's definitely going to force him into making units other than knights, at least. He has enough gold for 1 knight, just barely, but he's not going to be able to get any of those upgrades or anything, so he's definitely going to be probably dropping down an archery range right away. And the villager coming out here, just trying to prevent Mongols from getting that raid bounty on the mining camp as easily, maybe bait these spearmen into range of the town center. But not quite going to be able to kill any of them, and ultimately that villager is just going to be forced back.
Yeah, having a bit of a tough time there, so probably going to be losing this mining camp, or at least giving over the bounty for it. Now, I'd love to see what other aggression we've got coming out here from MeomaikA. If we take a look at his perspective, you can see that there's not really a lot of line of sight when it comes to the base of COINNU. He doesn't really see too much. No outposts have gone down. He's just made a barracks, made a couple spears, and he's come over and said g'day. And he's shaken the hand of a villager, and he's going to be on his way. I mean, there's nothing else going on behind this, with the exception of pastures. So he's almost gone for the fake out. you know, we see the archery range getting dropped down here from COINNU. So COINNU obviously looking to counterplay. It's also going to be a Royal Knight that he opens with here. So having enough gold to get that one out. But yeah, bit of an interesting opening. I don't think I've ever seen this one before.
Yeah, not committing too hard to that aggression, just doing a little bit of gold denial, and then, yeah, just backing up with the Spearman, getting the raid bounty, and then just gonna head on home and keep things nice and safe. So, it is gonna force the Archer opening, it is gonna force, or prevent Mongols from going, or, sorry, prevent French from going for any early wheelbarrow or anything like that, but, yeah, I mean, French now spotting the gold mine here, the Knight is going to be heading straight towards that gold mine. And we'll see if he gets any kills. It is pretty close to the town center, all things considered, so I would imagine these villagers to be relatively safe as long as he reacts in time.
Now, one of the things that could happen, obviously that archery range is already out. If he begins to move archers up towards the Uvu, I suspect it's going to be very difficult to actually get buildings out onto that. We do see a stable coming down in anticipation of potentially that play. So now villagers got to be careful as the Knight begins to run in. Looks like he's going to get that 2-for-1. Indeed, 2 taps and the villager does go down. So already 1 villager going over towards COINNU. There's a couple of spears now moving back towards the base as well. That stable probably going to be heading out towards the Uvu as well, just to make sure it's able to get those extra production out. But now we see a mill getting thrown down on the berries as well here for our French player.
Yep, and that's going to start, he's going to start collecting a little bit of berries. Not going to have to make farms as early. Maybe he's going to start grabbing wheelbarrow and stuff like that. But he's actually got 6 archers out now as well. And they're going to be moving over to this Uvu, as you mentioned. He's really trying to deny the placement of this stable. And without this stable, there's not going to be any horsemen to deal with the archers either, so they can just sit on this Uvu, they can kill... Okay, well now, getting a little bit distracted by the spear in there, and the stable does go down.
That's very frustrating, because had it been another 10 seconds or so, the archers are here, they clean up the spears, the Knight prevents the stable from going down, but now he's going to have double production horsemen coming out. Obviously, they're going to be very effective up against the heavy archer comp. It's going to take a lot more damage as well. We see the upgrades coming through for the horsemen, and now Khan, got to be careful not to go down here. You can see the archers trading out very effectively with it. Khan going to be coming back in. Definitely a little bit frustrating, the AI. I don't know about you, Mitoe, but I've fallen victim to this once before as well. Essentially, you can issue a command over to your units, and if an arrow or a projectile hits them, as that command just gets completed, the aggro will be reset and they'll walk back in. And it looked like that just happened for the Khan as he almost lost his life. So once again, going to be running in, going to be losing his life. Khan goes down. MeomaikA definitely not playing to the top level you'd expect him to be playing today.
Yeah, and this is such a tough position to be in as Mongols too, where your opponent has the military advantage and they're sitting on top of all your production. These archers can just harass all the units that pop out here. They can even snipe the sheep that come out of the pastures and really deny the food income for Mongols. And it's just going to be difficult to deal with. But there's now going to be another 2 horsemen popping out here, and there might not be enough knights to really deal with this. It could actually be a good timing here for Mongols. Yeah,
you can see the horsemen just popping out like crazy at the moment. Looks like he's going to have 6 of them coming in. He's got the upgrade for them in the feudal age as well. Looks to try and get a surrounded. Pretty decent surround here coming in, but at the same time, a good defense coming through from our French player. You can see the Knights looking to try and screen up against these units, and at the same time having a bit of trouble. The Archer's going to be focusing down the spears. They all managed to go down, and France actually looking very strong at the same time. The Scout continuing to siege down that stable. COINNU looking like he might be in a very strong position here, forcing the Mongol player to evacuate the Uvu. This is not pretty.
This is not where you want to be with Mongols, for sure. That second knight arriving just in time to help out with the defense of those archers, and now this Ovu is going to fall, all the buildings forced to run. And what really hurts here is that you are losing a lot of extra resources here just because you've had to halt your sheep production, and when you place those 2 pastures, they're going to be generating more slowly, and our Mongol player might actually just be out of sheep in a moment, in addition to like losing the Ovu income here.
Yeah, that doesn't give him too many options. He's got berries in the back of his base he'll be able to fall back on. But obviously playing up against the French, they are a very mobile civilization and could potentially look to strike those berries. But now it looks like we've got another production building going to be coming down in the back of the base. It looks like it might be a stable. So he's going to be looking to go very heavily into cavalry. It's going to be a 3 cavalry or 3 stable combination that's coming out from him.
Yeah, cavalry is an option against this composition. Knights are still really good against horsemen though, so you really have to get the best positioning and get the spears on top of the knights as well. Maybe he can use his mobility with the horsemen to try and pick off reinforcements, reinforcing archers and stuff like that. But for the time being, he's just kind of holed up in his base. This gold mine is going to get denied in a moment here potentially, and yeah, things are looking tough for our Mongol player.
Yeah, it's not looking pretty. I think that if the knight numbers get high enough, he's probably going to be able to do a decent combo here. You can see he's actually investing in the battering ram. So I know that knights don't trade out particularly effective with horsemen, or rather horsemen don't trade very effectively with knights in higher numbers, but in lower numbers it's not too bad. And you can see the numbers here aren't terrible with regard to the knights. So as long as these horsemen numbers are up around, you know, double digits, 11, 12, something like, or yeah, the horsemen numbers are up about 11 or 12, I think that should be fine. But more knights are coming out. Now spears getting mixed in. Okay, that's where the problems start. Spears obviously very effective against horsemen.
Yeah, there's really no answer here for Mongols to deal with the spearmen, aside from maybe the town center. And that is just going to kind of be what he's doing. He's just going to have to sit on the town center, rely on that building to try and keep him alive here. And Knights just trying to poke away at those villagers.
Yeah.
Maybe forced to back up a little bit here, but...
Look at the horseman, though. That's a big surround coming through right now. He's going to be able to chase these back.
Scary.
Beautiful, beautiful screen coming through there. And now it looks like we've got a spearman going to be coming out on the front line. Going to be trying to do as much damage as it can. Horseman actually connecting through with a lot of the archers on the back line, though. But at the same time, look at those knights. They are just cleaning house towards the base. They are just tapping away. Look at that cleanup. It is going to... We're going to need to call service 20. There's a cleanup on aisle 3, and it is going to be a lot of Mongol bodies that gotta head off down to the infirmary. Look at that. That is a massive cleanup.
Yeah, that was a good attempt from Meo there, but yeah, just not quite enough. There was just too many knights, and COINNU did a really good job of focusing down the spearmen in that fight as well, and just managed to keep all those knights alive.
Yeah, really, really well played from him. At the same time, battering ram going to be continuing to hammer down buildings. It looks like this pasture probably going to go down. Villagers trying their best to repair it. The knight's going to be able to scare it back into the town center. And at the same time, it looks like that battering ram going to be able to get the final shot off. Indeed it does. So 150 wood going down there. And now going to begin slowly working on that town center. Horsemen on the back line. You've got to be careful. There are spears out there. And the knight's going to be looking to defend it. At the same time, microing back. Beautiful micro coming out from COINNU, who's fighting for his life. Keep in mind, this is the best of one. If COINNU wins this game, then he goes through to the next round, which I think almost also might be a best of one as well.
Yeah, some villagers trying to take out this ram. That will buy him just a little bit more time. He's going to sack some vills. Doesn't quite finish it off there, but he does get quite a lot of damage on there, and is going to actually just tap out at the end.
Yeah, so well played over to COINNU. A little bit of, I wouldn't say necessarily an upset, but obviously the Mongols, a civilization that is considered a bit favored in that matchup. Bit of a misplay coming out from him. There were a couple of different positions there that sort of made you scratch your head. Yeah, well played going over to COINNU. Good game.
Yeah, honestly, just really well played to him. He didn't overreact to the two spearmen in his base. He was active with his scouts. He realized there was no forward towers or anything like that. And he did exactly what he needed to do. He got up to the feudal age. He made a lot of units, and then he just sat on top of that Ovu and killed all the units that popped out from it, and just forced the Mongols into a really tough situation.